Hello everyone, my name is Nathan and today it's time for another episode of Oxygen Not Included here in the One Duplicant Challenge. In the previous episode we started discovering the rest of space and of course I took myself the liberty of almost finishing the job. The most important part is we now have access to all the planetoids. I can oversee all of them. Most of them are pretty boring on the surface, but it is definitely a good start to see which planets are more approachable than others. Something else I discovered over here is the gilded asteroid field, which contains the fullerene. That is what I would like to collect today, at least a little bit. There's supposedly also another way to get the fullerene, maybe on this planetoid. Also on this planetoid I believe is the temporal tear opener. I can only see that because it is actually flooding on the planetoid and it is quite high on the surface. There's also the temporal tear that we could go ahead and open up. And there were just 3 tiles that I wasn't able to discover. I assume there's nothing there because there's no question mark. Oh, before I forget, we also found Russell's teapot, of course. Currently, I'm back on the main planetoid and I'm about to finish the entirety of the research for the diamond drill that we actually need in order to process minerals in space. There's just a little bit to go, about 20 points in applied science research, and also all that exploration gave me lots and lots of data banks. This might actually even be enough to do the entirety of the research tree now. And there it is, finally, research completed, we got the drill cone. Let's go ahead and build the next rocket, this rat bolt engine here. The range of this rocket is 20 tas, and oh no, thinking about that, this is not enough. So my plan actually doesn't add up because it is 11 tiles until the gilded asteroid field, and that is just shy of what we need. Yeah, honestly, I did not think about that when starting the episode. We just cannot use the rat bolt engine in this case. So we'll have to find a different utilization for this rocket, and then we also need a different rocket. Let me think. Are we able to pull this off with a petroleum engine? Probably. Maybe let's go ahead and just expand the platform here. We're gonna do something like that and just build the very same thing we already have. Conveniently enough, I already have lots of building materials I'm gonna require for this nearby. Then we might also wanna go ahead, build a little pipe here to get the water inside. Well, let's first of all see what options we have. Petroleum, of course. Steam is not gonna make it. And the sugar engine, I highly doubt is gonna make it further than a petroleum engine. So we might just have to add more fuel tanks. So let's get things going with a large petroleum engine. We will definitely require a spacefarer module. Next up, 2 large liquid fuel tanks. Or possibly a third one now, but then do I have enough space for everything? Like, we still need the battery. Maybe a small tank is gonna do. The problem is this rocket also only goes 20 tas. By the way, since I created so many data banks in space, my operation skill is extremely high, and now my engine tune-up, it's not refreshed currently, but it holds for more than 8 cycles right now. So that is pretty good, and we still have like 40 points to go until we max out the operation skill. Oh man, this episode just got way more complicated than I anticipated. Why can't you reach 22 tas? Yeah, honestly, the rat bolt engine, if I were to redo the exploration, is probably the one that I choose for exploration, since the range is enough to reveal all the terrain, and since the petroleum engine can be boosted a little bit, you can reach the very edge of space as well. Now, how large is the small oxidizer tank? Okay, so this way we might be able to add just a little bit more range. The question is, how much do we get in here? And I believe you mentioned that it is just half, which would mean it's way better to have 2 small oxidizer tanks than 1 large one. We're almost done with the basin here. We can barely heat this up, but it is working. It's very good. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and skip this part for you until I find a good configuration for my mining rocket here. Okay, as promised, I've been through a couple of configurations and I figured out there's no small fuel tank that would have given us the range. Also, I really need the space for at least a drill cone and the cargo bay. We might actually be able to get rid of the battery module, even have that inside of the rocket if we want to have some extra charge, but since I don't really have to do anything, it doesn't really matter. One thing I'm not sure about is how much power the drill cone actually requires, or if it just runs free of charge. So I figured instead of going for liquid oxidizer and even more complicated stuff, the next easy thing we could do is just go ahead and make a pit stop at Mudoni. Mudoni should then be close enough to actually reach it, go back, and then back to the main planetoid. So all we'll have to make sure is to actually refuel the rocket, and I don't think I'm actually going to do it with this one. So I decided to still go for the rat bolt engine, since we're only going to have to refuel it a tiny little bit. Also, I have enough space for a cargo bay, the drill cone, and then of course 2 solar panels and a battery module. That means we can go ahead and also design the interior. I'm gonna start with the same system because that worked out pretty well so far. And that is of course my mechanized airlock here. Just one thing that I would like to fix is set up a filter. And the reason for that is in my other rockets, let's have a look at one of them. Sometimes the door closes because I don't have it powered on, and then the atmo sensor already goes back into the previous state, and then it sends a weird signal. And then for some reason the door still counts as closed even though it should be open. And this is literally not letting any oxygen through for some reason. But if we added a filter to the signal of the atmo sensor, we should be able to eliminate this problem. Just like we did actually all the way down here at the volcano. Since I have this filter system in place, this error hasn't happened anymore. So for one thing, we want to make sure we can steer the grounded functionality with the star map location sensor. But then also we want a atmo sensor. We're also gonna go ahead and set up the bathroom here as usual. Let me see, there's probably a ladder going up. Let's set up the rocket control station here. Then on the top we have a little bit of space for a fridge. Here we want to store our food. Do we need anything else? Maybe we're just gonna set up a storage bin so we have it just in case. Next up, our comfy bed. Get that inside its own room. Have another room here for the toilet. Wall toilet goes right here, and we'll set up a hand sanitizer as well. I think I might want to move the fridge downstairs together with the mess table, and then here on the top we have the space for a water cooler. Gonna move my atmo sensor over a little bit so we can push the staircase here in the center. We're also gonna go ahead, set up the automation here. This should go directly to the control station. Then we want to set up a filter gate here, and now this is going to be new, another filter gate there. The outputs of the filter gates go to the door, and atmo sensor goes into this filter gate. Yeah, wonderful. So I'm actually going to apply the fix here in that rocket as well. We grab that filter gate, set it up right there, and go ahead, cut this. And maybe just to be on the safe side, we're going to set up a timing of about 20 seconds. To make sure we really need to either open or close the door. Now, before I forget, let's also set up the piping here for the water coming out right there. And it's going to go all the way down into the wall toilet. We should also make sure to have a power outlet fitting somewhere. Maybe a good spot for it would be right there. And we don't need that much cabling. All we want to do is power up something specific. Let me see, conveyor, receptacle, fitting, loader, what do we need? Allow solid materials to be moved into the rocket via the conveyor rails. Yes, that's what we want. No, actually the other way around. We want solid materials to be moved out of the rocket storage to the conveyor rails. Yeah, that's what we want right there. So I'm gonna set this up here at the bottom. Let's go to the rails. We bring this up right here. Well, it doesn't matter. Right there is good as well. And a conveyor chute. And what this is going to do is give us the materials directly from the drill cone through the cargo module into the rocket, and therefore we can just keep going until the drill cone doesn't have any more diamonds, and that is much better than filling up one cargo tank. Of course, you should always be careful when doing such things. I'm going for the gilded asteroid field where it is safe. There are no melted materials or any hot materials. For instance, if you want to mine this guy here with molten tungsten, well, you don't want that in your rocket. Let's just say that. Here in my fridge, obviously we're gonna store some berry sludge, but maybe 10 kilograms or so should be enough for the trip. Yeah, I think so. And I want to make sure this is a fairly high priority because I don't know where I'm storing all the food. Oh yeah, and this is the main reason we actually need power for this rocket, and that is the outlet fitting here. So let me just move through the walls and give this the necessary power. And if we wanted to, we could also give power to the door, which would probably also solve our other problems. Right here, we want to send a green signal when on the main planetoid or on Mudoni as well, because that's the 2 planetoids we'll be landing on. And of course, we need a storage bin right here for the oxalite. As for the sensor, below 1500 grams, as usual. Wonderful, I'm doing some more engine tune-ups. Let's check out the duration. It's 8.1 cycles currently with a skill of 58. So I would say with that it's well worth it. I guess I'm gonna give myself a couple of cycles in order to finish that, and then I think we can get started on preparing Mudoni. What do we have to do for it? You know, possibly just set up a rocket platform here and then manually generating the radiation. Isn't there? Yeah, there's a manual wrap bolt generator, and this is the planetoid we have all of the enriched uranium on. Like this guy here contains over, 9.1 tons. So theoretically we could just waste a little bit of uranium in order to make that trip. I mean, we only have to do it once or twice, honestly, probably. Okay, I'm about to finish the rocket. This is by no means the optimal design, it's just one that I like. I made sure to have a bunch of gold blocks all the way around, not only to block the radiation, but also to give it a little bit more decor. This time around we are also featuring a party line phone, why the heck not? I moved the power outlet fitting downstairs because it was closer, but then I ended up using it for the party line phone anyway, so we'll see how that turns out. So the last order of business is going to be to fill these up. One I'm going to fill up with a body bot seed in order to get a little morale boost with smelt flowers. But now we're pretty much done with the rocket. It is fueled up and ready to go. Let me see. We have a range of 20 tiles. We have access to the cargo. We have access to the power that we generate here. So without any further ado, let's make our way over to the teleporter here. Nathan, you need to go to Mudoni. The first order of business is going to be to set up a rocket platform. Let's do that somewhere on the top where we don't harm anything. So if I set up a rocket platform here, no harm should come to us. We then build a bunch of obsidian ladders to get up there. And that means I probably also need to open this up again, give myself access to this part. So theoretically, we only need to set up a manual generator somewhere around here and then feed it with enriched uranium. We'll see how that works out. For now, let's get the rocket platform built, and then as a next step, I'm just gonna go ahead, bring the rocket over. There is my rocket platform. Wonderful. That's actually everything I needed to do. Wait a second, I haven't inspected the teleporter yet. Okay. In this case, I'm gonna make my way back to the main planetoid. And without any further ado, we're gonna grab our rocket, change the crew to Nathan, and we're gonna make our way over to Mudoni. Huzzah! Here we go for another adventure. Oh, there's one thing I did not consider. That is the Atmo suit. Let's unequip this guy. Check it out. It's 17%. Okay. That might be a slight problem because I still didn't take care of that issue. I just lived with popped eardrums basically here. Oh, check this rocket speed out. 3.6 tiles per cycle. That's pretty darn good. Oh geez, we already arrive in 15 seconds. What am I gonna do? There we go. We are about to land. Let's check out the temperature here. Yeah, look at that. Okay, that's not a problem. The problem is the radiation. Oh yeah, check this out. I also forgot to make the ladder large enough so I actually can get out of the rocket. So maybe instead of having to leave the rocket and ground it on this planetoid, it might be wiser to just automatically refuel it and remain inside the capsule. Yeah, that makes much more sense. I'm gonna make my way back, refuel the rocket, and then we come back here and already make a setup. Now the port is right here. Actually, we could go ahead and do the setup now. All we need is the manual generator somewhere here. I don't want to put it too close so it doesn't get heated up. I'm also gonna put some tiles around this one and maybe set up a bottle emptier. Give this some liquid so it can cool down. Oh no, it requires duplicate operation. A duplicate must be present to run this building. That means I also need a proper suit. Come on, we just have to try it. It doesn't even require power, so it would be a really easy way. You know, we might actually be able to do something here. What if we just salvaged a couple of these blocks? That should give us enough materials to build a ladder. Oh no, and of course, I'm now wasting time on the phone. Maybe I should disable it. Now, I should have enough granite to actually make my way down and get this built. There it is, manual wrap bolt generator. We want to shoot into that direction. Uranium ore. So we actually require the ore and not the refined version. And as a result, we'll get some depleted uranium as well. So let's just go ahead and do this forever now until we filled up the engine. Yeah, looks like I'm going for it. Am I doing something? There's a work errand now. Oh, yeah. I love it. Okay. Oh, this is great. So it looks like we only produce very little amounts, and it might be wiser to just have that temporarily here. I mean, it doesn't seem to have an overheat temperature, and it also doesn't produce any radiation outside the rat bolts. Here we go again. Fill up that engine. I almost feel like I'm training myself. Now, to make this a little bit more efficient, I think I'm gonna duplicate the machine, because I'm always running away after filling up the machine doing something else. I just don't like that. If I have two machines, then I will always have something to do. And additionally, we can even set up another storage bin and bring some uranium. There, I brought 2000 kilograms. We now have that right here, and that should be plenty to just keep going. That's what I'm talking about. Do it, do it, do it. And all that without a spacesuit, and it's not even bothering me, not in the slightest. Just by accident, we actually found a useful situation for the rat bolt generator. I did not think that would actually happen, but here we are, approximately 100 rat bolts later. Good, I think I'm gonna meet you next once the rat bolt engine is fueled up and we are approaching our mining target finally. Okay then, said and done, I filled up the rat bolt engine and we now just have enough fuel to get to the gilded asteroid field and then make our way back to Mudoni to refuel and then make our way back to the main base. So there's just about 80 seconds to go until we find out whether or not we forgot something else. But by now I have a pretty good feeling. At least I look pretty excited. I have to say, having the water cooler and the party line phone in here helped that immensely. Like, we have 41 morale at the moment, which is pretty great. And look at that. I think it is working. We are at least mining. Let's have a look inside the rocket again. Yeah, here it is. All the stuff we're getting. There's also some regolith and already 45 kilograms of fullerene. How wonderful. Now, I'm not 100% sure how long we're gonna be here for. Can I actually see, like, the properties here of Neptune? How much do we still have? Yeah, look at that, 950 kilograms. So that means we'll have to spend a couple of cycles here. Considering we don't have to do this very frequently, this is probably one of the only times we have to do this. The entire trip was very well worth it. But now, just imagine this gilded field being in the second to last layer. Then we could just have done it from the main planetoid right off the bat. No pit stop required. But alas, I'm still happy we are finally doing it. This is gonna take a while, so I'm just gonna leave this running in the background as I edit the video, and the next time we should have access to fullerene. Of course, if you don't know, that means we can finally craft the supercoolant. But yeah, I would say with that out of the way, we're gonna wrap it up for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Have a great time and see you in the next one. Bye bye.